Hey there. How would you like to discover how to communicate with loved ones and others in the spirit world and open yourself up to what's called mediumship capabilities? Not only are we going to talk about that and why that would be significant and interesting to anyone, is because we all have the ability to become mediums and get messages and insights from higher guidance and spirit. But it can also diminish your fear of death by developing your mediumship powers, because as you learn how to communicate with loved ones that have passed, you can feel the healing energy of understanding and grace coming from them. I've worked with some mediums that truly have healing grace coming through. And when you realize that love never dies and life never ends, it can really provide significant healing and the ability to move forward in life after the passing of a loved one. So that's today's topic here that we're going to discuss, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But before I get started, hello. Again, my name is Liz Garcia. I am your happy host here at High Vibe Tribe Radio.com on the podcast and High Vibe Tribe TV.com on our YouTube channel. I'm also the founder of the Mind, Body, Spirit Network.com, and I'm on a mission to help you raise your level of consciousness on a wide variety of topics related to transformation in the realms of mind, body, spirit, health, personal development, and spiritual growth. And I support this intention by creating and curating content just like this that is calibrated as to its level of consciousness, or that has the indicators of higher consciousness within it, that has the power to actually help shift you in significant ways. So today we're going to talk about mediumship. What is it? What's the difference between mediumship and psychic abilities? Or, is there a difference? There sure is. And I want to introduce you to a free online event that's always available. So you don't have to be concerned about meeting a particular deadline for a live webinar or anything like that, because it's was such a popular webinar and online course that our partners at the Shift Network turned it into what's called an evergreen webinar. So let's give you a little hint of what the webinar is. It's called 3 Keys to Unlock Your Powers of Mediumship, an Evidence-Based Path to Communicate with Loved Ones and Others in the Spirit World. So before I tell you more about the event, and this is, by the way, is presented by Suzanne Giesemann, who is an incredible human being with a tremendous resume that I'll share later in today's episode. So let's talk about first, what is a medium as opposed to a psychic? So mediums bridge the gap between the living and the deceased. So you have the ability now to communicate with people that aren't really dead. They've just transitioned into their spiritual reality, which is more real than our life here on planet Earth. I'm reading from Oprah Daily, has a little blog post about what a medium is. So in other words, a medium is someone who's able to communicate with souls on the other side. And Kelly White, a licensed psychotherapist and spiritual medium, says, however, contrary to popular belief, mediums do not speak with the dead. There's no such thing as death. There is only a transition from the physical being to the spiritual being, and mediums are sensitive and intuitive enough to hear, feel, and see information coming from the other side. And yours truly here, I am a medium as well. It's nothing I ever aspired to or consciously asked for or even considered or knew about. And two decades ago, I would have thought anyone who was a medium was a little, cucamonga. So I awakened to mediumship capabilities in 2003, quite suddenly on all fronts. And I awakened into the clairs, which is there's these different ways of communicating with spirit guides or the other side. known as clairvoyants, which is clear seeing, or the ability to see through your third eye right here. That awakened for me in a big way, but it wasn't scary at all. It was just kind of matter of fact. But when you do awaken it, you'll get flashes of images that speak 1,000 words to you. It's like, you can get a whole lifetime of information in the flash of a picture from a clairvoyant image. Super interesting. There's also what's known as clairaudient or clear hearing. I too am a clairaudient, in that you can hear spirit speaking with you. I hear spirit every day speaking with me. I don't always know who's talking to me, but there's an energy shift when I feel like it's like a spirit guide or someone I can trust. There's clairsentience, which is clear feeling. This is really kind of on the intuitive side of things. You can feel the truth of something. And I have to tell you that when I felt, it's not as strong within me as the other two, but at this particular time when I had this quantum spiritual awakening, clairsentience was so strong. It was like, oh my God. You don't even question it. You're like, okay, roger that. I got that message. When you feel a message, it's pretty awesome. And then finally, there's something known as claircognizance, which is clear knowing. Again, this is another powerful communication skill, in that when you clearly are showed the truth of something, which I have felt strongly on a number of occasions, all kind of disillusionment dissolves, and the truth of something is like standing like an oak tree right in front of you. And for me, I needed to hear them. I needed to know the truth about something, and I got it. And it's not something that I need to share with anyone else. It was meant solely for me. Now, there's many mediums that do readings for others. And Suzanne used to do readings for others as well. Now she's more of a teacher and helps you fine tune your own skills so that you can help others communicate with deceased loved ones, or just simply use it for your own, access to higher guidance. Now, psychics and mediums are two different types of skills. Psychics do not necessarily have the ability to communicate with the other side. Psychics really have the ability to give them information about the past or the present, in that they can energetically what I've kind of figured is energetically, they can pick up on what you're intending or what went on in the past that you may not be able to reflect on very well. So psychics have the ability to do this. And, from my understanding of consciousness and teaching consciousness, you really can't know the future of anybody, because there's so many opportunities, so many pathways you can take from moment to moment that's changing the future. So if a psychic tells you they can read your future, it's likely one possibility based on the energy and the intentions and the vibration you're putting out at the time you have a psychic reading, as an example. I feel like mediumship readings are higher level, especially if you intend to connect with your spirit guides, which are of higher consciousness, and they're not there to tell you if you're going to win the lottery or not. That's like if you want to hear fantasy crap, then you go see a psychic, or it's my recommendation is to get real about what you really need help with, and be willing to accept that there's something within you that needs to change. And spirit guides really, I have a mediumship friend who had similar feelings as I do, that spirit guides are not going to give away the farm. You're here to experience and to move through things and learn things while, in physicality. So just, heads up on that. Now, Suzanne Giesemann is of higher consciousness and holds a ton of integrity. So I would recommend her as a teacher on the topic of mediumship, which is why I'm sharing her today. Someone you can trust and feel safe about learning from. So let's talk about her free online event, which is called 3 Keys to Unlock Your Powers of Mediumship. So I'm just going to read about the event, which is, by the way, presented by the Shift Network, for whom I am an affiliate partner, which means that if you register for this event and then you decide you want to opt in to Suzanne's, it's either a 7 or 8 week online course in mediumship, we get paid a commission at the Mind, Body, Spirit Network for your doing so. And this is really just how we support all that we do here at the Mind, Body, Spirit Network to create and consciously curate content of higher consciousness for you and sift through the noise and the garbage that you wouldn't know otherwise is helpful or not to you, which is the problem with this evolving planet that we're on. We think we know something when in fact we really don't, because there really are so many wolves in sheep's clothing out there that they don't even know they're a wolf in sheep's clothing, which is kind of funny, but that's just the way it is. All right, so I'm going to read about Suzanne's event, and then we're going to talk to you. I wanted to share who she is and what her background is, because it's pretty awesome. And if you are on the video, I interviewed Suzanne. So at the end of the video on YouTube, I'll be sure to add our video together. So if you find it interesting, you can go further with another video on YouTube. And if you're listening on the podcast, just know that I will repost our interview on the podcast right after this one so that you can have that available to you right away. Okay, so how might your life change if you could access connection, guidance, and comforting reassurance from your beloved ancestors and other loved ones who have transitioned? When you discover how to unlock your innate mediumship powers, you'll welcome more peace, healing, and love into your life. You can even learn how to communicate with those beyond the veil on behalf of others. Mystic, medium, and author Suzanne Giesemann will share an easy practice to help you open to your own mediumship capabilities during a free video event. Again, it's called 3 Keys to Unlock Your Powers of Mediumship, an evidence-based path to communicate with loved ones and others in the spirit world. Now, this is a 1-hour event that's been pre-recorded. It was live through the Shift Network, but it was such a popular event and course that they kept the recording, and you can now watch it at any time. So during this special hour, you are going to gain an understanding of what's known as evidential mediumship and why it is sacred. You'll discover the 3 keys to mediumship, which is belief in the spiritual world, alignment, and a shift in focus from the physical to the spirit world. You'll also learn how you can begin communicating with your loved ones beyond the veil. You can discover mediumship as a path for your soul's evolution and find out what makes a reading evidence-based and how this form of mediumship raises the bar and meets the true goal of being the authentic and indisputable voice for spirit that you can be. Finally, you're going to experience a guided practice to connect you with your guides and ask them for a sign in the coming week that they are actually there. Now, I share this many times as a teacher of the Map of Consciousness by Dr. David R. Hawkins. Dr. Hawkins spent his lifetime doing consciousness research, and he's calibrated the level of consciousness of many things. One of them being, do spirit guides exist? And it calibrates as true that spirit guides, we all have spirit guides, and they do exist, and guardian angels, whatever you want to call them. And they typically calibrate at 450 on the Map of Consciousness or higher, depending on your own level of consciousness. So they exist, whether you want to acknowledge that they do or not, whether you want to believe it or not. It's good to know that someone's got your back has got an eagle's eye view on your life and what you're really here to experience and enjoy in life. So Suzanne's approach to the age-old practice of mediumship has been tested and verified, and her work is recognized as highly credible by noted afterlife researchers and organizations. Honing your mediumship powers through her evidence-based mediumship can help diminish your fear of death by validating the belief that there's life beyond the veil and that we're all part of something so much greater than the visible world. And I have to say, I want to share a book with you here as well that's called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers, which is really a story of mediumship between Billy Fingers, who was a real human being who passed, and a sister who came to kind of speak with her brother in spirit about what goes on in spirit after death, and particularly what was going on. I mean, I was recommended this book, and it was such a huge healing tool for me at the time. I want to recommend it to you here, especially if you have fear of death, or if you've lost a loved one that you really haven't got over losing. That book has what, Billy Fingers calls light in it. So there's the light of truth within that book that's going to help move you through grief and loss to some degree or another. It was hugely helpful to me. So in any event, it was really mediumship that the author was experiencing while writing the book. And she was never a medium. It came to her suddenly when her brother passed. So anyone can learn to connect with the spirit world, says Suzanne, because we all have the same equipment. That's a soul. So even if you take the course just to get over grief and loss of a loved one, it's worth its weight in gold to understand that and to work yourself through it and know that there's going to be significant healing. And not only that, but your ability to communicate, whether it's clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, or claircognizant, with your loved one that has passed. So this is a fascinating hour you're going to want to check out with Suzanne. And again, you can register for this free online event at any time below the video or the podcast. There's a link right at the top of the page in that description area so that you can go right to it. And now I want to tell you about Suzanne, because she's pretty awesome. And again, you may want to check out our interview. We had a lot of fun, and you can get to know Suzanne better there. So Suzanne Giesemann is a messenger of hope and the founder and teacher of The Awakened Way, a path to knowing who you are and why you're here. She's a former U.S. Navy commander who served as a commanding officer and aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on 9/11. In fact, she shared that she was on a plane to London with the Joint Chiefs of Staff when the towers got hit and they had to turn around. So it's kind of impressive to realize, if someone like Suzanne could believe in mediumship and become an evidential medium teacher, that's pretty huge. I mean, she couldn't be more of the land of reason and rationality, being a U.S. Navy commander. I mean, that's huge. So today, Suzanne provides stunning evidence of the existence of universal consciousness and our interconnectedness. She's the author of 13 books. She's been a keynote presenter for organizations including Edgar Cayce's Association for Research and Enlightenment, the Academy for Spiritual and Consciousness Studies, the Afterlife Research and Education Institute, and the International Association for Near-Death Studies. And there's tons of books out there on the near-death experience, for sure. And in fact, I did an interview with Anita Moorjani. What was the name of her book? Now I can't forget. It's pretty famous and well-known. In fact, Dr. Wayne Dyer really promoted her through the Hay House organization to get her book published. I don't know why I'm going blank on it, but anyway, she has a class too that can help anyone who's dealing with the grief and loss of a loved one. That what was interesting that she said during our interview is that when she had this experience, she felt like she was home. To have transitioned into the afterlife, that felt way more like home than what life on planet Earth is. So just so you know, something to look forward to. But, I don't recommend like feeling badly about your life now. Live it to the fullest and have fun, right? And know that we're here for eternity. And as a medium, I received the message loud and clear on 2, if not 3 occasions, that we are eternal. And I felt eternity as an experience. It was pretty quantum in nature and a little hard to grasp. So you can read more about Suzanne on the link, but she's highly credible, and you can trust her to be a safe teacher. You don't have to be afraid of mediumship. She's going to help you kind of navigate, who you're talking to, and you got to be careful who you ask and who you want to talk to. If you want to communicate with, entities that you don't know, that you think is kind of like woo woo, Dr. Hawkins is always like, you don't need to talk to anyone who isn't in physicality in general, though. And I would agree with him on that. I would stick to higher guidance and spirit guides and loved ones that have passed. Stick with, spirits and souls that don't venture out there trying to connect with some ding dong guru who's going to lead you down the path of destruction, because there's plenty of that. So I hope you enjoyed the topic of mediumship and understanding what it really is. And all my mediumship friends are like, Liz, you're a medium. I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. It's interesting to me, but I really use it for my own sake, my own spiritual guidance, which I get a lot of, I see stuff and hear and feel stuff that I don't want to hear, but I need to on occasion. So it's always good to know, as well as stuff that I do want to hear. So anyway, again, my name is Liz Garcia. I'm your happy host at highvibetriberadio.com and High Vibe Tribe TV, and the founder of the Mind, Body, Spirit Network. Head on over there where you're going to find more events like this that have been consciously curated as to their level of consciousness, so that you can actually shift in this world and make a change and really be the change that you want to see in your own life and ripple that out into the world. We love your reviews. We'd love you to share this with family and friends, as we are on a mission to raise the level of consciousness of the planet from, it used to be 207 from 1986 till about a year ago, and it dropped below 200 again, which is not ideal. But we're on a mission to raise the level of consciousness of the planet to 250, which is the level of consciousness of neutral, which, believe it or not, has a ton of power in it to offset the negativity of the planet. I mean, a neutral planet, that's pretty awesome. All right, stay tuned. We'll have more of these goodies every week. I'll see you then.